No, you don't have to, honey. No, it's okay. Okay. Delays firing. Let me make sure we've got room on my computer for everything. Great. Alright, we should be good.
They all get to hear.
Alright, yep. Today is my birthday.
It is his birthday.
So we're covering a massive multi-community event between Solid Games in Tushino.
Where is it? What's it spelled as?
There you go. Right there.
Tushino.
Tushino, yeah. So two very large Russian projects that they call them are basically going head-to-head. There are two servers, each with 100 players per side. Server 1, which I am currently on, is their best of the best. And then server 2 is everybody else. So I'll be covering server 1 because I always like to see that high-level PvP. And I will be in a debug corner down here. I might be able to jump in something and go and talk to people, but we'll see. Regardless, that's my... Bloodwing made a cheesecake for my birthday, and she is stealing some of it, so that's fine. Oh, okay. It's hard to cast and eat cheesecake at the same time, honey.
Well, you know what? That's why I'm here. I'm here to be your voice for the next, 5 minutes. As I,
But we have to cast.
I feed you cheesecake. You know, it's great. Right? There we go. Cheesecake.
I can't even get a word. I keep my cheesecake
You
in my
don't
mouth.
need to speak because I am the entertainment right now, right? I am allowing you to enjoy your birthday cheesecake.
But he's talking about the mission.
So there's some geometric looking thing on the map. I'm assuming that's the AO that they're participating in. There's some kind of border around it. I guess they're trying to infiltrate maybe, or I mean, I don't know. Is this PvP?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're trying to kill each other. While they're trying to kill each other, they're also trying to complete their objectives.
Right.
Which, at this moment, I don't know what they are, but I'm going to assume that they're going to have to go capture...
No, there you go. Come on, read it.
No, I don't remember all my Russian letters, because some of them are Greek.
They're oil rigs.
They're what?
They're oil rigs.
They're oil rigs?
Mhm.
Okay, so they're trying to get the Middle East soil.
Nope.
So we can sell it.
Nope.
To make a bank.
Mm-mm.
Right?
Blue 4 is U.S. They're defending oil rigs against a modern Russian force.
Okay, so fuck the Russians. So
Oh!
JK.
Never talk bad about your host, Sonny, please. You kind of just fucked me there, I'm not gonna lie.
No, it's me. It's my fault.
I'm sorry.
You said nothing. I was the one that was being awful. No, they're doing it great. They're doing wonderful. It's great. It's awesome. It's perfect. I'm talking in the context of the AO.
But there's fucking cheesecake in my mouth.
Yes, this is fine. So you're held against your will. So nothing I say can be used against you in the court of law.
Give me a second.
It's fine. I'm sorry. I take full blame for any words I say.
No fun.
Okay, I'm gonna leave you alone now. Bye.
Bye, honey. Whew. Never bite the hand that feeds you. Though I do like biting her hands, it's funny. Alright, let's get on with today's event. So I'm going to be on the bottom left. I might be able to get a vehicle and go and interview a few people before the mission even technically begins. I will eventually be pushed in. They're going to do a map side brief for both of their forces. Op 4, I can see based off of the symbolism over here, they're probably going to be starting on the outside. And Blue 4 are definitely going to be spawning within here. We see some fortifications that have been put out in a bit of a 360 defense. And I assume there are 3 different areas of this oil rig that they're going to be defending as Op4 comes in. This is round 1. It's going to be on Serrani, but it has been modernized by the Solid Games community. Excuse me. When your mouth gets full of cheesecake, yeah. Ay, ay, ay. I'm assuming this Blue 4 border is here, so Blue 4 cannot leave this area. I don't know if that's going to tie to their air assets as well, but I guess we'll see. Whereas Op 4 can attack from any side. And I assume, based on the fact that we have this big area border here, this is all... Like, Op 4 has plenty of air support. They could potentially, like, land choppers in here and whatnot with. I'm very excited to see this because if we look... Sorry, my brain's processing this. Serrani usually stops, like, here. So this is all extra territory over here. And I'm just curious to see what they've modernized with it as well. But we'll just have to see how that all plays out. The second round is going to be on Cell 2. It's going to be a Cold War era where Russian forces are defending a bridge, and the U.S. is trying to destroy it. Next week, instead of Solid Games hosting, it'll be Tushino. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. They'll be hosting, but I will not be here to cover it, unfortunately, because of an engagement shoot. So, always a next time, though. I am totally open to casting more of these events because they are, honestly, some of the coolest things about Arma 3. It's always... I've had a running joke for years where whenever we get onto a Russian community and see them running massive numbers with all their custom assets and whatnot, we've always called it black magic. Because even before the profiling build was a thing, these guys were running, 200, 300 player PvP missions like it was nothing, and it ran smooth. Like, profiling build was to catch us up to what the Russians are capable of. So I assume they just took all that black magic and they just put it in the profiling build, and now everything runs well. So I'm really excited to see the frame counts for this mission. Because a few years ago we covered WOG versus Solid Games, and that ran smoothly. And that was also like around 200, 300 people. So with the profiling build, I'm really curious to see what my frame count is going to be. Regardless, I'm going to wait till we push in to tell you guys some of the assets we're going to see today, but I was told to expect a lot of custom ones as well. I was given a nice rundown from, I'm going to butcher his name, but Siergic. I'm so sorry if I said that wrong, but he is the one that invited me to this event to cover. So big thank you to him. And if you like today's event, please join me in thanking him as well in chat when the delay catches up for 15 minutes. Regardless, there will be those 2 rounds today, and then I will be running off to go cover D&D, and then we've got more ops tomorrow. Might also have some DayZ tonight as well. It'll be in the late night, some birthday DayZ. I'll let y'all troll me and enjoy myself. Alright, looking at the map here, Op4 have about 2 routes from the ground to be able to move up. You gotta look at this point right here, so 4-3, 3-2, the 342. If you've never played Serrani before, this is basically a sheer mountain cliff. So Op4 is going to have to go either north or south to get into this AO. That creates some pretty nice bottlenecks Blue 4 could try to quickly mobilize forces over to capitalize on. We have these bridges right here creating a natural choke point in Dolores. We have a little bit of a pass under these ridges here that Op4 can move on with as well. There's also some valleys they could use to slope up to the top of the mountain at Sierra Madre. Or Op4 can go north and then start coming in from the high ground over to the low ground. So we have 2 potential roads that will lead them to that side. We have the massive area in Periso where Op4 could also stage a bunch of forces and move out from there. And then we're right on the border, so Blue 4 can't camp this. But they can camp the edge. I'd imagine Op4, we're probably going to see them avoid going the southern road because they're just... there's way too many areas where they could get bottlenecked, and in this massive amount of players here tonight, Blue 4 is definitely going to have the ability to send a massive force to cover this if they want to. Regardless with that, we're probably going to see a big convoy go on the northern side. From which route they're going to go specifically, I don't know. We're probably going to see some Overwatch forces go up to Montpesto here. And potentially Overwatch downward as the rest of the Russian forces probably come around north. We could see either a scouting force, maybe even a vanguard-sized force come down to the south, at least to occupy this space and potentially stall out Blue 4, because what'll happen is if there's nothing on Op 4 sent to the south, these forces can then maneuver around and potentially flank any forces on Blue 4 coming in. So Op 4 might put a force down here just to either occupy Ortego and see if they can get eyes to shoot at whatever's in Dolores, but that would actually have to be done from either this mountaintop here or this church building. And then they could just plink at what's across. Because we're going to see some autocannons. We're going to see some potentially some grenade machine guns. Definitely some air support. So that can be walked in on this position to keep those Blue 4 units pinned on the border if they do try to rush over. Otherwise, that'll basically be Op 4's game plan. And then they'll just slowly march on to this objective. Potentially steamrolling anything that happens if Blue 4 overextends. Blue 4, on the other hand, obviously they're going to need internal site security on the objective. They have the manpower to do it. There's no reason they shouldn't. They shouldn't go all in, especially if Op 4 might be able to, you know, take forces and land them over here to then have them go, you know, ground to ground. I think Blue 4's best bet, if they have any long-range Overwatch weaponry, would be to just lock this area down with a kill zone. Maybe put something up on .144 here. And just completely lock down that open area. Have it ready to, you know, drive out at a moment's notice if they're getting outflanked from the north. But this top area, that's the tough one. Because there's a lot of open area, and it's also mixed with a lot of forested areas. Some are thinner, like these little vineyards right here, and then some are, you know, still little urban positions and villages and whatnot. And then you got this ridge covering that northern side. So this northern side, also very easy. Just put an overwatching autocannon or missile launcher, lock down anything on Blue 4's side that comes in there. But this middle ground is the tough area. That is where we're just going to have to see Blue 4 elements in the field go and pick overwatching positions. And then from there, see what they can lock down, but be ready to pull back. Blue 4's best bet is basically an attrition fight to whittle down what they can from Op 4 to the point when Op 4 conducts their final attack on the objectives. They don't have the assets, the tonnage, the manpower to basically take the final zone. But if Blue 4 is unable to do any attrition, then Op 4 can just completely overwhelm that final zone and win. That's the nature of a large-scale assault objective position like this one. All right, we're going to be going live in about 80 seconds. I'll put the prediction up for 15 minutes. I'll probably put it up for 20, actually, because we'll have a bit of a safe start. Maybe, I think it's either 20 or 30, so we'll do 20 instead. Ooh, excuse me. But yeah. I'm just trying to think if there's any other elements. I don't think Op 4 is going to have any, like, boats. And even then, boats wouldn't be quick enough. It would just be better to, like, fly a chopper out and then land it in a position and then keep an Overwatch element for it. And we got our little island over here for debug. for my silly little streamer ass to be on. Locally, this is also on a hilltop as well. There's a lot of other little hilltops around here. We're seeing a lot of open area. This is kind of the bottom left of Sarani, so it's a lot of open desert terrain, which does greatly help the defender. However, when both sides have autocannons, rocket pods on aircraft, all this crazy stuff, it does help to negate the advantage that Blue 4 would have by covering open fields. But again, we'll see an exact asset list when we get pushed in. Just trying to think. Really, that's it. Again, we'll just see a major force come to the north, maybe a minor force south, air assets potentially dropping stuff off. I would definitely think they're going to use these southern LZs. Anything too close is going to get hit. So we're probably going to see birds leaving the route where they go over Gatan here and then fly low and fast. If they want a more safe route, we'll probably see something like this, where they at least stay multiple kilometers away, because if they hug the edge of Blue Forest border, that does risk them getting hit by autocannon fire. And I wouldn't put it past Blue 4 to just put like some sort of autocannon right here to engage any choppers that might be trying to quickly slide in. Axe Baron, thank you, broski. Hope you hope you enjoy today with me. Angel, how you doing? Again, 15-minute delay. I'll reply to you guys when I can. So I want to clarify real quick. The announcement does say 400 players. Let me explain what that specifically means. There are 2 servers right now, and each one is a 200 versus, it's a 100, not 100, but like, you know, with extras, like 111 versus 111. But there's 2 servers going on, so that is 111 times 4. So that's over 400 players. But it is across 2 servers going on at the same time. Again, the first server, server 1, is all of their best players from both communities. So I'm on right now, and on that specific server to cover it. And then the other server is everybody else. So we'll see how things go. I just realized you're all listening to me eating cheesecake right now. Oh my god. That's kind of embarrassing. So it's 222 slots per server. Oh, we just went in. But yeah, I can't say this enough. Like, it's honestly great to be here. Like, I'm so excited. Okay, yeah, so it is in English. All right, we're just making sure. But I think we're in the waiting spot, so I can go into spectator immediately. So let's go ahead. Okay, so they've got that. So usually the F1 key is to hide that menu, but it looks like it's also a way to see draw distance here. And, alright, so we've got a big chunk of Op4 right here. So, let's go ahead and start covering all these assets. Like I said, there's a lot of assets to work with here. So, we've got some custom, I believe these are Gazes, but these are their MRAPs. Something just exploded to the north. But we've got some Spec Ops teams here. So, Suppress, oh my god. Looking at these kits, it's like a kid in a candy store. So, we got some magnified optics on their AK, I believe 74s. It's always hard to tell. If anyone knows, like, a visual difference in, like, an AK-47 or AKM versus an AK-74, please let me know. You know, because I always struggle to tell those different calibers. But otherwise, okay, so we've got some higher caliber. That's I'm going to be honest, I don't recognize that gun. This is why I love covering these types of events, because I'm seeing things I don't recognize immediately. So this is some of their custom assets they have in Solid Games. So if anyone knows that designation, please let me know in 15 minutes. And then we've got... I forget the... I know that's a 12.7. That's a KSVK. And then this is a 338 T5000. But otherwise, some nice magnifiers on there. We got a UAZ and we got an MRAP with there. And let's go ahead and look at the main Op4 force here. So we've got the autocannon on the Gaz. I remember seeing that a few years ago. Actually, I've seen that in some other communities too nowadays. RSGH, thermal barrack launchers, more marksman rifles. That one I also don't recognize. Nice. But yeah, a magnified optic fight. We do have some red dots with some RPG 7s as well. We got some Gazes with some PKMs and some, whatchamacallit, some GMGs. Real quick, let me clarify on chat. I was told to do a 15-minute. If one of the admins wants to come in and tell me it's supposed to be something else, please do, and I will immediately stop. But I was told 15. Regardless, that's it for that group over there. Oh my! Oh, I'm like, this seems a little small, and I scrolled out and saw the rest. All right, I see how it is. But otherwise, let's go ahead and look at our northern group here. It's probably another Special Forces team. Yep, so with those magnified optics and all of that other stuff. Just trying to see if it's a different hotkey to override, but yeah, I guess we'll just stick with that. That's fine. All right, looking at the rest of the Op4 element here. Here we go. Oh. I don't even know what that is, but damn, it has the body of the, you know, a standard IF or an APC that we see, but it's got that top turret of I think T-15. I always get it confused. I think T-15 is the APC and T-14 is the tank, but you know, with those side tow launchers, the cameras, and the autocannon, that coax right there. Mwah. But this is definitely the main force where we've got more of the desert. I don't know if it's Ratnik kits, but, you know, regardless, AK-70... That is a beefy-looking AK-74. Almost looks like an ACR. I love it. But definitely AK-74 base if we're going with, like, modernized Russian equipment. So, RPG-7s. I see some custom warheads on here because I don't recognize that tint in the warhead there. And then we got a Crow system on a Gaz. The dish... I mean, just some of these assets, man. With all of the armor I do, like, I apologize if it sounds like I'm gushing over this, man. It's awesome. All right, and then we've got some other stuff in the back. What are these? T90s, I believe. Correct me, though, because I always get my T72 variants, T90 variants. I mean, those are similar, but the T80s, I always get confused with the T72 and T90 variants. But we've got some... I'm blanking on the name for the type of armor there. Reactive, that's it. Air, we've got an Alligator. So PP-2000s for submachine guns. They got those 44-round stick mags. Look at that. AGMs, some... I forget. Those are smaller missile pods, but I think you can guide those. And we got some rocket pods, and then they've got that side autocannon. That... It's always beautiful to see these types of rockets in PvP. And missiles specifically. Remember, rocket is you fire and forget. Missile is it's either locked. Speaking of missiles, they only get one though. They nerfed it so it's only one round instead of 4. Oh, that is a quad AGM launcher, but they nerfed some of the tubes. And then we got some more MRAPs over here in the form of some Gazes. And then we have another autocannon vehicle, which... I think that means we're going in 5 minutes, but we got that. So I got to speed it along a little bit. Let's cover all the Blue 4 US equipment here. So we've got some MRAPs here, one with a 50 cal on the top. This is their forces here. Oh my, these are the new ones. This is the 6 point, is it 6.8 or 6.5? I think it's 6.8. But yeah, so we've got all of that new US equipment here, including their new machine guns and everything. I played with it in the 506 briefly before they switched to a Reforger. I doubt they have that auto range scope where you hit a button, it automatically tells you the range you need to fire at. We have an M107 with another, that's I think a 308 marksman there. Over here, we've got some Mazes, either the Mark 0 or Mod 1. And we've got a bunch of riflemen as well. So we have a GMG and a 50 cal right there for that central squad. And then over here, we already have some players moving out. This is probably going to be another 50 cal group. Yep. So another Special Forces element. Looking over here, we've got some more MRAPs. A Crow GMG system. We got another GMG, but that one you got to aim. And then we have some more standard forces here with those new rifles. Oh, they also have the mod that lets them lean the gun over cover to shoot. That's a good mod. All right, we got some Crow systems on top of some Strikers here. Crypto. It's they use TFAR, and Zumber is right. They literally use they just use TFAR. Maybe something's edited with it, but yeah, it's it's amazing what they have. We have a Striker here with a Bushmaster autocannon system up top. At least I think that's what that is. So we've got the 240 on top for the coax as the weapon platform with an autocannon. Multiple transfer port MRAPs in here. So their standard infantry have the standard 5.56 M4s, and then their special forces have the newer stuff. That makes sense. And then I'm just looking out and about here. We have, yep, so this is the match that gas with that missile launcher. They have the Striker with the, I don't think it's the 134. I think that's the minigun. But yeah, this model has a twin tow system. Meanwhile, we have another Bushmaster autocannon on the Striker. Another Crow G. There's a lot of Crow GMGs, good God. I'm going to be honest, with this long-range terrain, though, I think the GMG is actually going to be less effective than the 50 cal. But hey, man, you never know. It's all about situation. Got more of these forces over here, and then we got some rear guard. So we have the MGS Strikers here with the basic, the anti-tank gun. These are tank hunters, essentially. So that'll pair against those two Russian tanks. And then we've got just two additional AI back there. So that's where they spawned. Blue 4 doesn't seem to have a helicopter. And I don't think there's a way out of the Spectator. Otherwise, I'd drive around and say hi to people. Yeah, so Op4 with an Alligator, that means Op4 is not going to be able to bring any air support around the sides, but they can call upon air support to hit from the waterways to give them a safe area. I didn't see any Blue 4 AA capability in terms of man-pads, stingers, vehicle statics. So I wonder if they have any capability. Blue 4 has already had an OSHA violation. Someone fell off a multi-story area and is unconscious.
Yeah.
And that voice crack means someone might have died. And I could have sworn I heard the word bliat. Which, in my opinion, is the standard thing to say if you fall off a multi-story area. Yep. Yep. Alright, I'm going to mute myself locally because I'm in the TFAR channel. I gotta have Ilvanek fix that plugin so we can hear them locally and then stay muted. That's just one of the various little things I have to get done. We in Russia caused a snowstorm in Moscow to ensure the stability of the game. It's snowing right now, and yesterday it was 15 inches. Fair enough. I'm feeling that same level of nostalgia I felt a few years ago when I was covering WOG versus SOG, just seeing all the custom assets. And just again, to give a little bit about the map, this is all completely remade by the Solid Games team, so they made a modernized version of Serrani. So I've never seen this build of Serrani before, but that is also why the frames are going to be really good, is because they probably fixed all of the errors that were in the original map that, you know, parsed to Arma 3 with all of its updates, was probably generating quite a few. So that's why we also have some additional areas over here, because and there's also a lot of forest. There's a lot more greenery, because usually it's a lot more open. But I remember we did a World War I trench op somewhere around like this area here because this area didn't exist. This is a beautiful blend of the map, though, with all these custom areas. And then we're seeing... God, so a mix of vanilla buildings, cup buildings, OG, Cold War assault buildings from, like, the first Arma game. So I think it's a great blend. And then these buildings... They're not from J-Bad, they're from something else. No, actually, no, they might be J-Bad buildings. But, like, these are the ones we see in Lithium and a few other maps. So, yeah, I'm loving the blend. Because, you know, when I have Valkyrie do the Warhammer 40k stuff. Ooh. Just some random shots around. But when I have Valk do the 40k stuff, we have to blend the maps to make them look as 40k as possible. I always appreciate when we have, you know, an old map like Sarani... And then we see some of those original buildings, but then we blend it with some newer ones. Again, it's a technical thing. As someone that's been a Zeus for this game since 2016 and, you know, looking at all that stuff. But yes, I'm in a pocket dimension for 15 minutes. I'm sure y'all are going to keep making that joke. But we got Op 4 ready to move out. We haven't gotten started just yet. Looks like we also have a triple R vehicle up here. Just a repair vehicle. But no other set of triple R. I didn't see any blue for triple R either, so they could potentially recover some vehicles here. And yeah, people in chat are talking about how this is a custom version. But again, 15 minutes behind, you'll get to me eventually. Don't touch the boats. There's no boats for Blue 4 here, though. And Op 4 isn't Japanese, so you don't have to worry about that. It's kind of funny, actually. Normally, I would be nervous about this. Since it's a large-scale PvP event, I would be nervous about performance, but it's, again, weird to say, but I'm not. I'm not here. You know? Just because they have a good track record for performance, like, I don't have any problem with it there. All right, so we got a top timer right there. Let me go ahead then and set a 20-minute prediction. And I will let you guys go nuts about that. Oh, God, is it still back there where I'm eating cheesecake? All right. Yeah, I mean, after seeing all the assets, my idea of the plan still doesn't change. I think we're going to see Op 4 really funnel around the northern side and come in. Maybe we'll see a blocking force down here. Maybe we'll see that missile launcher get on a nice Overwatch position and engage from there. Blue 4, if there's only an alligator to worry about, we're not going to see any autocans go off to the side, but we are definitely going to see these Bushmasters probably move from their spawn positions up to Overwatch positions. I would definitely see a Bushmaster system covering down to the south here. And then to the north, we'll probably see something covering this area similar. That tow system is also going to be overwatching because it's going to mainly be hunting for those tanks. But I could see a nice 5 or 6 vehicle perimeter made with all of them overwatching certain zones, you know? Watch KSK as Spetsnaz? Gotcha. Which I assume are the front groups over here. Gotcha. All right. Yep, so they're the northern Spetsnaz group. I'll keep an eye out. I mean, they're definitely the closest to the front line, so I'll be covering some of their actions first. And again, seriously, thank you for all the birthday wishes. I appreciate that. That's an AEK 971, and they're using A4I45 assault rifles. Gotcha. AEKs. All right. I do know of AEKs. It's just I rarely see them in PvP, so I haven't recognized them just yet. So the 545 is an upgraded, modernized version of the AEK. Gotcha. Gotcha. And then the DMR is an SVCH 338. I've never seen one of those before. That's the modern sniper rifle of RF. Gotcha. Again, like, that's why I'm like a kid in a candy store here, because I get to see all these modern day assets that I don't see anywhere else. I think the only time I've ever seen an AEK, ironically, is in a DayZ weapon pack mod. And it wasn't the modernized one, it was like one of their original versions of it. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. But yeah, it's fun to see it in Arma, man. But I appreciate you guys letting me know, because I don't know, dude. Well, that's how we learn. Alright, 3 minutes. If I were to give an advantage to either side, I'm gonna be honest. Based off of how separated Op4's force is, I'm leaning towards Blue 4 right now because I think they have enough room to make a nice solid defensive line with all their vehicles. So I have a feeling if they can coordinate that properly, they'll be able to pretty much intercept any Op4 group that tries to sneak in early on. The Alligator is going to be the changing factor, though, because it has 2 AGMs. And then we have these guided rocket missile pods right there. Then, you know, with the camera, the autocannon, I didn't see a lot of AA or AAA. The only AAA I saw were probably those Bushmasters, or maybe if this Alligator is foolish enough to hover, then maybe the tow launcher on one of those strikers can snipe it. But I have a feeling with most PvP games, either this is going to be the best helicopter crew ever and literally win the game for Op4, or it's going to get blown up in the first 5 minutes. That's usually how it works. AK-74 has a thick muzzle, AK-47 has a thin one. Oh, no, okay. The muzzles are different. I understand that an AK-74 is also lighter. It's hard to tell that, you know, by looking at it. But it makes sense that the AK-74 would be lighter than the AKM, because the whole reason they shifted from the AKMs and 7.62 to 39 to AK-74s and 5.45 was better weight distribution, if I recall correctly. Like 5.45 was, I thought, a lighter bullet. And the AK-74 also being lighter would make sense. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. T-15 is the IFV, T-14 is the tank. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Those RT-80s? God damn it. I know the difference is the type of engine. Visually, I always struggle with identifying those properly. But, yeah, no, so T-80, definitely one of them would be a UK model. At least I think. Like, that's the up armor one right there. Turret pops off like a jack-in-a-box. Oh, alright, so we have a fuel truck back here to refuel that vehicle, and then the repair vehicle is going to be in the field. Nice. ERA, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, that's the name of the reactive plates. The name was escaping me. Thanks, guys, I appreciate it. I assume we got to based off of your reactions, we got to that thing. I love that thing. Alright. And they're getting started. Maneuvering is going to be key for Op4. They need to find a good place to regroup. We need to see the air asset take off soon. There might be a timer on it, though, so it can't be immediately grabbed and, you know, units rushing in. But, alright. Massive convoy coming in. I would love to see that convoy join up with that group. Not like an entire convoy area, but I want to see these guys go on the same route here. Alright, so Spetsnaz forces are immediately rushing into the line. What we need to see is these guys find some good areas to commit Overwatch to. So maybe on this tower, maybe on these little hills here, but somewhere where they can basically prevent Blue 4 from deploying a battle line of their most powerful assets to lock Op4 down. Sevi Scandia is not here. This is a purely Russian event between two large Russian, what they call projects, I call communities. Alright, so we see Op4 already dismounting in Dolores here. They're probably going to secure these choke points then. That indicates to me that Op4 might actually plan on moving a large force here through these choke points on Dolores. We already have Blue 4 in this town right here, so they're going to be occupying this area. We have a lot of tall buildings here that they can take... Ooh! Is that shoot? Okay, they're shooting windows out. That's what I was thinking, because I'm like, there's no way there to see the guys like a click and a half away. And if they do, good on them. You guys seen the Crow 19s? Yep. All right. Sorry, I'm typing this up really. As a disclaimer, I have always, throughout the years, covered everywhere I can see PvP. So keep the politics out today. And if you can't do that, I'm just going to get rid of you. Because I don't feel like dealing with that right now. Alright? With that aside, let's get back into it. Okay, quick TLDR. Twitch annoys me with how political it's getting. I'm just here to cover PvP. I'm just here to cover Arma 3. I'm here to play a video game, cast a video game. For anyone that wants to watch. Keep the fucking politics out. Alright? That's all I ask. Alright, so Op4, they're setting up here. We got half of them going north, half of them going south. They're splitting up their tanks here, so we already have some good spearheads from some of the Spetsnaz forces to the north, and then they've also set up a group to go on the northern side here. I agree, Bradley's, especially with their tow launchers, I think would be a bit too overpowered, because we've seen in the past in PvP events where it's been like Bradleys versus BMPs, and the twin tow launcher on the Bradley always outperforms the BMP, because it's simple, 2 AT missiles versus 1, you know? So that's always been a major difference here. So I'm glad that we're seeing Bushmasters on Strikers instead, because the Striker body is a lot less tanky than the Bradleys compared to a BMP's, which can get hit pretty easily. But, you know, that's also matching a lighter skin, which is the MRAP body of a Gaz that has the autocannon on it too. So I think the balance here has been pretty decent. You did not just run a dude. Oh. No! No! First casualty of war. Friendly fire, but it wasn't a gunshot. It was just standing in front of a car as it drove forward. Ah, no. Alright, so my prediction was wrong here. They're going to go through the bottlenecking on the southern side. What scares me about this is look at all this open area here. And if Blue 4 detects this movement, we're just going to see autocannons here snipe the hell out of anything that comes in this open area. So I'm leaning a bit more towards Blue 4 now, because we could see a big chunk of Op 4's force get evaporated right here, because we already do have an autocannon in this region. So it would just have to be moved up to a hill, and it's gonna be a turkey shoot. And we already have some blue 4 elements moving forward here. Zorg. Love the 5th element. I think he already sees some of the guys up here. But I do also want to say this again. These are their best of the best players. We're on their first server, which is reserved for their top guys. So I want to see snapshot headshots, man. I want to see some crazy shit in CQC. To convert that for my normal viewers, everyone is at the level of Zixme from OFCRA. Gonna be honest, he hasn't really run that hot recently. But I would say Zixme or Falcon. Everyone's at the level of Falcon or Zixme. Most of you remember Falcon. So just imagine that type of free thinking, that potential lone wolf element for every single player individually. Apply that to every single player here, because everyone here had to be vetted. And that is the type of PvP that I am expecting to see here. There's still going to be comedy. We already saw one OSHA violation and one guy get run over by his own car, because it's still Arma 3. I see. So these guys, the reason they dismounted in this town is they somehow broke their front wheels and I guess pissed off the local goats that took up arms against them and shot up their windows. Crazy how that works. Just look at the amount of symbolism here. And then you got a bunch of rear guard guys too, in case Op4 brings stuff around. Then you got the helicopter kilometers away, up high, starting to set up an Overwatch position. But in terms of Op4's plan, the only thing I have against it is these open fields it's going to run into. We could see autocannon vehicles then come in and lock a lot of players down, and that could give Blue 4 that advantage of killing off enough Op4 to then pull back, hold the final zones, and be fine. But I do appreciate like this massive set of defensive lines we've seen. I'm trying to see if what they're shooting right now, if that's like Hunt IR going up or if they're shooting out windows or something. It's probably windows, though. Or they're testing textures to make sure they can shoot out of certain areas. This is another high-level gaming play I like to see, where you can hold control space on a door and then use the scroll wheel to slightly open it to make little creaks and to create little firing holes. You got to be careful about that, though, because if you're standing right behind a door, the bullets your opponents will shoot through the door and kill you. But it's a great way to get the jump on a few guys and then quickly pull back, or throw a grenade and then shut the door and pull back. Another thing I like to do is, if someone's in a room with a door, I throw a grenade in, I then shut the door and hold it closed by keeping control space held. And then they try to get out, and the door, you'll hear it click. And usually they'll yell a profanity at you, and then you'll hear an explosion, and then silence. Alright. So we also see, I mean, look at this battle line. And then you're going to have the alligator come around to the south and support this. I see something Op4 might be doing here. They might have picked this open area on purpose to bait the autocannon or long-range vehicles to fire at them, so the alligator can then snipe those vehicles with AGMs. Definitely a bit of a sacrifice play on some of the infantry on the ground, but a few infantry is completely outweighed by a dead autocannon in this scenario here. Those autocannons are worth their weight in gold. However, first contact might actually be up here with some of the Op4 Spetsnaz groups moving around. And then we do have some Blue 4 guys coming as well. This is that new LMG. Never got the chance to fire it, but we do have some Blue 4 elements already moving around. But yeah, like I said, he's alone, but I completely trust he would be able to mop up a normal group of infantry on his own as well. Like I said, everyone here, just imagine them being a Zixme or a Falcon, and you will quickly realize why I am excited here. But not that type of Bushmaster, you silly, porny bastards. Alright, let me tab out and give a quick heart for that. I appreciate you guys so much. Alright. So what we're going to probably see is a spearhead made by Op4 to the south. Units are going to come along, and we're going to see an L-shaped defensive line on this open area here. I'm just worried that with all this maneuvering through the open, even if they have the alligator come around and hit 2 vehicles, there's still those crow systems with those Mark 19s that if, you know, within 600 meters... Actually, does anyone know off the top of their head how long you can range a crow Mark 19? I think it's at least 600 meters. But yeah, you just put that in a town, let them come in, and you'll just dominate. And yeah, the alligator does have some longer range AGMs as well, but I mean, they got those 2 large ones on their pylons, and then like 6 or 8 on the you know, the smaller like dagger pods. But I just don't think the alligator is going to be able to basically be Op4's answer to everything in the zone, you know? So we might also see some of those tanks go on Overwatch positions on the rear, and we kind of already see that one tank is being kept in reserve right here, but it could end up going on this ridge and trying to engage from afar. At that point, the only thing that could destroy it would be those MGS strikers or the tow striker that Blue 4 have, you know? Points are just about to finish up. It's 329 to Blue 4, 184 to Op 4. Fair enough. We have the other tank on reserve on the northern side for Op 4. Let's do a quick check on all of the Blue 4 vehicles here. So we got a Minesweep striker right there. Again, with a Crow 50. The Crow 50 is also something not to sleep on, because that I know you can range up to 1,500 meters accurately. Just hit a button, hit the T key, ranged, click. If they're beyond, I want to say 300 meters away, fire it in a burst, and one of those bullets will hit. And it's 50 cal, so both sides have pretty good body armor, and the 50 cal at that range is going to lose a lot of its muzzle velocity. But, you know, that's why you fire it in a burst, because if 2 or 3 of those shots hit you, you're dead. You're dead. There's no way to really fix you on that one. But yeah, they just have so many of these assets spread out. And one of those benefits is they can then pull that in as QRF. It'll take a few minutes to get in position, but Op4 is not going to be able to move a lot in those few minutes, you know? Final bet, 338k to Blue 4, 195 to Op 4. I'm going to be honest, I agree with that assessment. Again, I think Blue 4 has an easier time defending these AOs. They have a massive kill zone to the south. This is foregoing how Op 4 is actually deployed. And even though Op 4 has a helicopter asset, that's not something to completely bet on. And with the skill level being super high, I can't judge anything based off of player performance. So it could go either way, you know? Oh, you guys are talking about the difference of T72, T90 variants versus T80. Yeah, I don't know why. I need to just take a day or two and just, like, stare at pictures until it clicks in my head, you know? I agree that the alligators have the ability to tear... Not the alligator. The Bushmasters have the ability to tear the alligator apart, but they have to be in range. And I'm going to be honest, if that alligator's playing properly, it's going to be staying in the back line, well away from the autocannons. The only vehicle that, in my opinion, is a threat to the alligator is this. I've seen plenty of videos where a tow launcher shoots down a helicopter. This is the alligator's biggest threat, because it needs to, in order to stabilize itself, to lock on to something and use its AGMs, it has to be flying either in a straight line, They can do a little bit of curving with it because I think they can lock the camera in place to guide the rounds in. But, I mean, who's seen some of the Auntie Stasi videos I recently did where I literally took a Metis launcher and I was shooting helicopters down? And that was as an infantry guy where I had a little bit of weapon sway I had to worry about. That tow platform has no weapon sway. It's literally just a guide in and explode. So, like, I would argue a lot of these players are probably better than me at this game. So if I can do it, these guys definitely can do it. We see the alligator. Yep, as I predicted, it's going to probably stage somewhere down here. We have a single Blue 4 scout. Zorg still over here. He's looking around, trying to find Op 4. But we do, I believe, have some of the Spetsnaz out. Nope, these are the standard infantry guys here. They've got the equivalent of their version of an ACOG here. Zorg I'm a little worried about because he is outranged on that gun. I'm also curious to see what the difference of calibers for some of these weapons will do in terms of how quickly players will go down. Because OFCRA has their own ballistics, FNF has their own ballistics, and then those are different from vanilla, so I'm really curious to see how this event, based off of Solid Games' stuff, how their stuff is based off of, you know, like, is it going to be realistic? Is it going to be a little more arcadey? Like, what's going to be the balance on it, you know? That's a Lynx. Oh, and that's an autocannon. So that is the Southern Bushmaster. It found something, and it absolutely annihilated one of the Op 4 elements there, and it might have just gotten a second. So based off of that killing a guy pretty quickly, I think our answer is right there. It's very realistic. Just don't get shot. That's the answer to everything. Just don't get shot. So that was... they moved up one of the Bushmasters. But we can see the range from that area up there. Let me go back to where he's shooting and then range those shots out from there because I'm having a little bit of trouble finding those buildings. Yeah. Oh my god. So here's a good spot, then we can look over the map. Oh, it's not giving me the range, damn it. And the mission will end in... Woo! That's, I think, a timestamp on the map itself, not the actual time.
Send in goat.
Darn.
6.
We're going to have to approximate, but this is... That is easily 2.5 clicks away. Because sometimes when you click on a unit, and then we click, we would see, like, a number from, like, the range of the camera, but every interface is a little different. Infected Shadow, thanks for the 18-month resub. Hope you keep enjoying the operations. Hope you get a nice kick out in this scenario. Kick out of, jeez. Can't even English. Ian, you already have a beefy server, dude. We literally play with 300 frames. We don't need more than 300 frames, Ian. Like, your server is one of the best I've ever played on. Hold on. I know I keep saying this will be the last time. It's just, I want to interact with a few of you guys. Alright, so Blue 4 already locking down some areas with those autocannons. What I also do appreciate is they are quickly moving those autocannon vehicles so the alligator can't get a beat on them. And we see the alligators now moving north to do some reconnaissance over here. We see that Op 4 is going to move through another kill zone down here in this valley to the north, potentially. And then we still have some of these vehicles on Overwatch, these T-80UKs. they're suppressing Zorg's position. He's not the one doing the shooting, though. There's shots coming in from the town over here that are trying to hit some of the infantry up there. That was an OG warhead based off of the crater, and that completely blew through the bushes. Nailed him with that hit. You see that top of the warhead right there. So that's a fragmentation warhead. And that, unfortunately, shredded that blue 4 player. Poor Zorg. X-Baron. Yeah, multi-pass, right? Alright. So, I mean, just... I don't know if you'll appreciate this, but look at that battle line. Look at this unified battle line right here. And look at this defensive line. With all of these units still on reserve playing defense, Blue 4 has enough elements to hold other units in reserve to act as QRF. This is PvP. This is real Arma 3 PvP. Just look at that. And they're still putting rounds here just to make sure this guy is absolutely dead. Then again, I don't know. That might be the defend. Oh, no, it's the defender shooting. So, yeah, that Blue 4 guy was screwed either way then. If he survived a few more minutes, he would have gotten peppered by his own guys. Ah, but yeah, as you can tell, I'm giddy. The curb didn't... Shut up, Zam. So we just have them trading blows here. So I think this is a live timer. It's just slowly ticking down in intervals of, I think, 10 seconds. Yeah. So hour 16. An hour 16 definitely gives Op 4 enough time to move, 4 or 5 kilometers to that position, even under fire. It's just going to be a very slow push. And I'm going to do my best to cover every second of it. I am a little worried, though. We did do, like, 11 hours of streaming the other day, and I can feel my voice already getting a little hoarse, but I'll try to make it work. We got some more GLs coming in, but they're very, very short. I do got to appreciate they're pulling out 320 systems, and they're just trying to barrage this area, but 320s, you can only really range up to about, like, 400 meters. And this is the maximum range at, like, 500 they're going, where, like, the gun doesn't even range that. You literally have to just put it at the perfect angle. So you got to give them credit for being able to put it at that perfect angle to get to maximum range on that GL, but it's not close enough to kill. It's only acting as a minor deterrent. Just some noise. We do have another Op 4 player that was taken out over here, though. I don't know by what specifically. We do hear some machine gun fire in the distance as well. What? Did he climb under my screen? Because I didn't... I think he just glitched through the wall somehow. Alright. Trying to get coverage on everywhere on the front line here to be as even as I can, but definitely a lot of the action right now is to the south. We can also always watch kill counts here. I thought I saw some flashes on that Bushmaster from the map, indicating, as you can see, it means they're firing. Trading some equipment right there. I wonder if Op 4 is going to use the southern bridge at Iguana to potentially try to maneuver forces to outflank on the southern side. There is a bit of a gap right here in Blue 4's line. I just don't think Op 4 has a way to properly do reconnaissance on it to notice the gap. Because we have the bias of being able to see the entire map here. However... Oh! I saw a symbol disappear. That was a crow. Not a crow. That was an MRAP of some sort. I don't know what specifically. And I don't think we get skull symbols on the map, so it's hard for me to tell. But it does have this open area right there, so that makes me lean that it was one of the vehicles that had a gun turret on it, either the 50 cal or a GMG. I think, did it get autocannon? Yes, it did. Autocannons are scary, man. But yeah, you can see where it's smoking right there. It had a clear shot on it. Right next to the bananakin, of course. Tank on the north is still being held in reserve. Tank on the south is still also in reserve, but kept in this overwatch position. I think they're waiting to see if the autocannon Vic comes out again and starts shooting. They're going to push the tank up and immediately order it to engage it. Probably, since it's a T-80UK, it has a few of those AGM rounds. Which, it's a round that it's basically a missile. You fire it, and then it goes forward, and then they guide it in to hit a target. I think you guys are on the autocannon right there. I might have measured from down here instead of up there, now that I think about it 15 minutes later, so you're right. That might be like 1,500 meters at like the very end, but I think it's a little more than that. I was wondering where this thing was. Yeah, the perfect position is to put it behind a rock. Look with the turret, see a vehicle, and just launch the missile. Because I don't think the vehicle can get destroyed from that turret being up there. It shouldn't be able to, at least. But we do have Op 4 doing a bit of a hold right here on this position. They went up here, took fire, and pulled back, and now they're holding defensively. So what I'm thinking is we're either going to see Op 4 push around to the south, or they're waiting for their northern line to pick up the pace a little bit, which we see right here. Autocannon Vic is covering their advance. And Blue 4 don't really have anything to overwatch this area. We got some infantry teams around, but it's not much. Oh, you guys might have been talking about the range of the Mark 19 Crow system. Yeah, so, I mean, that at 1,500, you basically have a pocket 40mm mortar at that point that you can range accurately. You know, it's... Ooh. How does the middle look? Because it eventually also starts getting really open, but then you've got, like, military bases to bounce up on. You got some open areas over here. This looks like a little bit of a tank testing range, so we got some random buildings and stuff. And then it opens up to some forest. The thing about this position, though, is look at this high ground. And you can see into the objectives up here. So if Op 4 is able to get autocannons up here, I think it's over. Because from there, they can just overwatch that objective and snipe all the defenders. So that's what's worrying here, is because Op 4 has the ability to put a bunch of autocannon Vics right on that area. Because what I'm worried about is potentially Op4 taking .194 and then just going right for the objective, and that's going to push a lot of Blue 4 out. Because they're all in positions to engage other forces. So we might see things get pinned on the south, a little bit on the north, and then this force being held in reserve. This could be our Stormtrooper force to just go on 194, set up a tank, set up an autocannon, and then just charge down into the objective with that support. That's what I could see Op4 doing right now. And Blue 4, they do have some stuff in Arcadia to help cover it, but it's not a lot. I just heard something loud baying on the north. I don't know if that was an MGS striker firing, or if that was just a random... Ah, no, it was her. No kills recorded, but she definitely sees something up the coast. Might have been at this autocannon vehicle right here, and they just pulled it into cover. Just watching the entire line like a hawk here. Because when you have this many players all close together, when the first move is really made, you'll start seeing people go nuts. Where are they moving it to? That's an asset to watch. The tanks are to watch. The autocannons are to watch. Which Op4 has, I think, 4 autocannons of their own. In the form of 2 of those Gazes, and then... no, and then I think it was 3 of those APCs with those cannons. So Op4 has a few more autocannons than Blue 4, and Op4 has the Alligator. Which just circled my position. Which I think has been aggroed by it. I just have no idea how I would jump back in them. IRL Bushmaster experience. We definitely see where Op4 wants to focus. They started crossing Iguana, and now they've got a few guys on hilltops over here, so we might see an expansion of this zone here, because they basically don't want to maneuver over this open kill zone. They know this is a kill zone. They're going to be looking for other ways to basically bypass that area, and I think the South is going to give them that, because what they can do is they can keep this little forest here in front of them with that little bit of defilade cover, move all their forces over here, and then just kind of circle around and then hit the objective from the south. And if they don't like pushing up here, they can instead go in the forested area here and then be like right on top of the objective from the south. Hot tip, don't die. Yeah. Story of any PvP game. The simplest advice you can get is just don't die. It's that easy. All right, MGS hasn't gotten any additional kills yet there. Tank is on the move. I think they're ordering it now to go to Iguana so they can have a large vehicle overwatch over here. We also see one of those autocannon APCs coming around as well. Those have the toes, though. Those are the scariest things on the map other than the Alligator. But they're probably going to get more action because they're directly on the front line. Alligator's basically used as a, going to be used as a surgical strike unit. Which I'm surprised MGS just fired to the south. So that's the Bushmaster autocannon we've been tracking. That's the 50 cal. I could have sworn I heard that other thing fire, but that's cute. So they're keeping that in cover right now, basically to not expose it in case the alligator comes around and hits it. But I heard a cannon fire to the south somewhere. That's why it's also important to watch like at this angle, and then we can see any like white flashes there. Blinking, you'll miss it though. One thing I do appreciate, though, with Blue 4 is we do have a big amount of defenders on the site itself. I keep seeing so many PvP matches where the defenders just completely abandon the objective. I mean, we saw that with FNF this week, with both rounds. They abandoned their defense and completely lost, you know? A 1v1 Lucent versus Zam, I don't think Twitch would let me cover that. It would get too inappropriate. If they have thermobaric RPG 26s, the camo patterned RPGs, it's the RSGH dash, I forget the number, but that is always a thermobaric warhead. We did see some of them on Op 4. Finding them is gonna... So that's a standard RPG 26. That's an AT warhead. Here's the RSGH. That camo pattern differentiates it. So that's the thermobaric anti-infantry and anti-building one. This is the regular HEAT anti-vehicle warhead. Alright. Little bit of a spearhead on the southern side here. What vehicle is this? Oh, I didn't even realize they had tow Humvees. That makes sense, though, because some of the APCs have tows. The issue is this is not the vehicle to have against infantry to the south. So, Blue 4 have made a gap. I think Blue 4 should have had something covering the bridge right here at these two choke points, but they didn't. Op 4 is now pushing through this location. And now Blue 4 doesn't really have anything to move there. What worries me is what are they going to use to plug the gap that's created right here? Or are they just going to concede it and let Op 4 kind of have this zone down here? That means they can start pushing around and putting pressure on multiple areas on Op 4's final position. And that's going to create this really weird, almost heart-shaped area right there. Hold on, autocannon firing. Looks like it's trying to engage something maybe on these far hills back here. But I think this is going to potentially be a nail in the coffin. Yeah, all right, they're shooting at the sniper team up here. And they have no idea where they're being engaged from. But this is going to create a really weird defensive oval right here. But once Op 4 lose this position... Oh, the cactus! Then Op 4 is going to have a direct firing line on the main objective itself, and that's where we're going to start seeing a real slaughter. That's why you have these infantry up here. This is their Spetsnaz group as well, one of them. So... they're here to basically frontline and secure this position because they want to move armor pieces up here to overwatch this AO. That'll give them direct firing lines on Arcadia and the final objective, and you're just going to see a lot of infantry die to autocannons at that point. So I think Blue 4 had the right idea for the strategy it came in with. I'm just really, really worried that, again, we're going to lose .194. That's going to give Op 4 a really great spot to deploy autocannons and overwatch a big chunk of the map. And... this little gap to the south has allowed for Op 4, when they had a big amount of units here, to now deploy them on the southern side. Alright, Ab here has gotten a second kill off of some guys on the hill over here. We have some autocannon elements firing into that town, though. You can see where that body is. Other autocannon vehicle. And I did survive that 10-hour stream. It was great. But I wasn't allowed to loot anything. But then they played a poker game and I won everyone's money. Anyway, one of the Bushmaster Blue 4 vehicles has just gone up in smoke. All wheels down, cannon down. There goes the man's lead. He had to have been hit by a tow. Where is... because there's a dead body in here, we're going to be able to see that kill count. The tank maybe got him? No, the tank is in cover. Where's that Gaz with the missile launcher? I'm checking the other vehicles in the zone. No, she got pulled back. Oh, no, wait. That's the Crow system. No, it was her, wasn't it? Because they pulled her back into cover. Wasn't her. Something long range hit it from somewhere. And I can't seem to find where, because I don't think Op4 have any, like, man-portable, like, Metis launchers or anything, like, you know, the vanilla, or I guess technically DLC launcher. But from that range, it had to have been a tank or something to engage from range. The issue is Blue 4 really needs to keep those vehicles alive because they're outgunned here. Oh, okay. Alright. This was the coast, and that tank symbol looked like it was in the ocean, and I'm like, what did you do? But no, they're over here to basically overwatch this side. Is the MGS vehicle dead? No, but there's another vehicle. They have a vehicle kill recorded. Autocannon just annihilated an infantry guy over here. Because you have a vehicle kill, so I wonder what that other Blue 4 vehicle was that got lost. Because I don't see anything smoking. You got Op4 slowly moving to Blue 4 positions over here. Yeah, alright, it destroyed something. I just wasn't able to cover it. Sorry about that. But here's my analysis right now. Op4 is basically able to slowly maneuver in, and they're the ones that are causing attrition damage on Blue 4. And it's not going to be good, man. Blue 4 needs to be the ones causing the attrition damage to even the odds and lessen the number advantage that Op4 has. But if that's not the case, Op4 is just going to be able to overtly dominate this fight. And we see a sniper firing at Ostap here. So he pulls back. Yeah, that MRAP's still alive. I don't know what that tank engaged. Oh, the autocannon Vic just went up for Op4. I think the MGS saw it and sniped it. Yeah, it looks like it was trying to drive away too, so that's... Yep. Good kill there. I thought it was a tank potentially firing again, but no, it was that. I think I just saw a Blue 4 guy bleed out. Looking at the south here, I'm wondering if the Tovik pulled back. It had to have. Yeah, because it was right here, and Op4 was down here. So Op4 making really great headway down here. I don't see anything smoking, so it definitely didn't get intercepted. But you can see that Op4 is just maneuvering everything around right here. I don't think the alligators swatted everything yet. I think they're keeping it in reserve till the final objective. I don't see any recorded kills for these guys yet. They're literally just running patrol at the moment. We do see that the autocannon's also looking downward, so I think they're just looking with the camera and just scouting the coast for any targets. Still my AI element running around right there. I didn't see the present from Molly yet, though, which is a shame, but maybe I'll get it later. Yeah, no, I'll text her about it. That's okay. Anything where she's beating up Dream will definitely make me laugh. We got some shots over here. I think they're coming up and double tapping some blue 4 bodies. And I think they just killed another guy over here. I remember there was a guy in this lighthouse. And I just heard something destroyed in the distance. Yep, so that's that guy up there. I doubt it's the MGS sniping the helicopter out, but it'd be pretty funny if that happened. Op 4 starting to take a majority of the territory up here. We do have some blue 4 guys up here, but it's not looking good. Op 4 also starting to spearhead a northern push through the open here. Wow. So we have a down blue 4 MRAP here, and we have another smoking vehicle out here. I think this was the 50 cal striker with the crow system. Yep. And then the front minesweeper system. So that's down as well. If blue 4 keeps losing vehicles at this weight, this is going to be a steamroll. Got this massive infantry push over here. I hope this is an autocannon. No, it's a Crow GMG, but that's also going to be effective against the infantry here. And then we have 2 more autocannon vehicles. Nope. So, GMG and then a autocannon with tow launchers. Which I think these tow launchers have been the ones doing a majority of the damage. All those tubes are still in. But if we were to look at some of these IFVs over here... That's the command one. Which I'm assuming this is the commander because he's up on top. And then blue 4 command, I assume, is Arum there. UAZ pulling away. I'm looking for the... Yep, so they've gotten a kill with it. They reloaded it. He's gotten 2 kills. So he probably sniped both of those vehicles. Oh, there's another one smoking. Oh, he double tapped the disabled Bushmaster vehicle. The Bushmaster Striker. Now we got autocannon. Nope, this is GMG fire. Exney. Oh, the tower's saving him. It's causing the rounds to hit on a slope away from him. Then this bush is eating a majority of that shrapnel. This is the GMG Crow system. It's come up. We see it raining hell on this vehicle. How the hell do you know that's there? Op 4 is on the offensive. I see. So hard kill is ranging those shots in from his vector. And then from there, I think he was able to see all that Op 4 movement because there were forces coming from there earlier. And that's where he got him. And this is the power of that Crows, bro. It's just gonna pepper the shit out of you. Now you got this GMG firing defensively. Look at this spread. Ooh! Ooh! It's so fun to watch GMGs in PvP. The thing is, they don't have a 50 cal on this, so they lack the ability to... Unless they really pepper that vehicle, because it is soft skin gas, they're not going to be able to do much damage on it. Meanwhile, Op 4 have mostly bypassed this town. That's left... Oh my gosh, I found the Russian version of Nemesis. It's Nemesita. There we go. I saw him earlier in chat. I'm not sure if he's still here. Got some more rifle shots over here. I think they're firing at some of the blue 4 elements over here.
I don't see any bodies. Blue 4 might have pulled back on that area. But I'm wondering if we'll see our version of Russian Nemesis come out here and take some dudes out. He does have, I think that is the auto range scope. So they might actually have that ability to just hit a button and then be able to auto range and then line up the scope. Alligator's coming in. She's doing a wild weasel run. She's testing the AO to see if she gets engaged. So she's auto flaring. We saw some explosives hit here. I think it was coming in to try to line up some shots on this MGS striker, but they weren't able to hit. I'm not seeing any damage on it, so I think it missed. So she's flaring, and then she's going to turn around and try another attack run on her. That's what I'd be willing to bet. But yeah, when you shoot flares, the game considers you firing something, so that's why it flashes your symbol. So unless this thing pulls inland, it's going to get hit. Oh yeah, all the fancy stuff is from the Solid Games mod pack, like the quad ATGM on the Gaz, the Typhoon vehicles. That's all their mods. Oh, hold up. I thought I heard him shoot something. There was another blue 4 guy over here. I think he just got tapped. By what, I do not know. Got Omega. This was that SVCH or something that you guys were telling me about. Got a suppressor for it, too. Woo! So, two ideas, two options. Either he got seen through the windows in the open and one of these guys saw him through that open window and they just called for this building to get taken out. Or he was there for like 40, 50 minutes. Like, he's been there for almost the entire match. A few people might be watching this stream and then go, damn, he's still there, get him. But I'm assuming we do have a bunch of guys on the ridge, and that guy, the last thing we did see him, he was in the equivalent of this window, and you can see that you can be seen from those areas here. So if I level it right here, yeah, Hipster probably saw him because he was literally like right here. So I'm assuming he's the one that's binoing this area. So I think he saw him and went, oh shit, autocannon. Murder that motherfucker. That's why you don't want to be alone with no support in certain areas. And if you're going to be doing that, don't poke your head around and make a scene, because there is something there that's probably going to nuke you. All right, GMG did properly suppress some of these guys, though. We've got the MGS coming around. Yep, so they're going to try to find some of these vehicles to the south and snipe them. I'm more concerned about those cactus. Yeah, bro. Dude, it takes them so long to get this big. I don't want to see the cactus blow up. It's prickly pear fruit, dude. That shit's good. Now I got some Op 4 running in here. I'm wondering if he's going to open up with grenades because they know there's someone up here because they were GMGing, not grenade machine gun, but they were firing GL rounds into here. Oh, he's prone with a saw. And I think he heard his footsteps. Bro's gonna lose his feet privileges in a second. Yep. I mean, good on him. He spotted him through the bush and got a few hits on his body armor, like on the back. But yeah, nah, bro lost his feet privilege. Look at this massive Op 4 opening right here, though. So they're going to be moving to roll halls here. We do have multiple MGS vehicles here. Cannon fired. That was an AP round, though, because it immediately ricocheted. And it missed, too, because that would have immediately annihilated this vehicle. Swing and a miss, Charlie Brown. Try again. Oh, he missed. I think he's trying to auto-range it, but because of the trees in the way at this angle, you can see the top of these palm trees. I think that's screwing with his ranging. Can he go 1 for 3? Here's the pitch. No, he's going to drive away. All right, looking over here, Op 4 starting to clear these areas out. Moving into Kaio here, we do have, I think this is one of the special forces groups for Blue 4 in here, so they'll have to get all that cleaned out. I just saw another symbol disappear from somewhere. We have long-range fire, possibly hitting some of the Blue 4 that are staying on the northern side. We do have some Op 4 that have already scouted out everywhere here. Oh no. He doesn't know. Yes, he does know. He missed. He missed again. He's firing them from too close and too steep of an angle. So those are those DAGR pods. You got autocannon fire now trying to get on that alligator, but it is not ranged at all there. So air not being as effective as it could be because the angle, it's too steep and it's not giving enough time for the rocket to, or excuse me, the missile to get on target there. Got some more GMG rounds going in. I think it's honest to God crazy that they can be given a position on the map and they, within like literally a minute, can range GMG rounds on that exact position from over a kilometer away. Like, that is nuts to me. And they're firing GMG rounds back. Please tell me you're not trying to engage a helicopter with a GMG. Those aren't even going to reach him. They're already falling down. He's firing GMG. Like, I get it if it's right above you, but if it's literally like a kilometer in the sky, that GMG ain't going to hit it. Even if it was holding still, that GMG would not be able to hit it. Like a kilometer above you. Good God. Oh, we have some smoke up here, so something detonated. I think it was maybe the fuel station? Hard to say, but now autocannons are annihilating some of the vehicles in here. Alright, and then we got some pretty nasty CQC going on. Blue 4 Special Forces fighting some Op 4 infantry, and you can see they've already started picking up their fun guns, but they kept the Op 4 optic for it. Nice. Another transport. So this was a transport one because of what's in the back. And we're hearing RPG launches now into these buildings. And even bigger rounds. I think that was the tank and an RPG that just went into big buildings because they're just trying to guess where Blue 4 could be. Look at this formation, though. Look at that concave that's starting to form to get to here. And then they're already starting to put Overwatch vehicles up here as well. This is just to see if it's safe, but then they'll start putting the autocannons up there, and that's going to end the game. A little bit of CQC here. Meebeeb already has a kill. AT firing beyond him, though. That was Loza, I think, panic firing his rocket. It was an RSGH launcher, so that was the right idea, but it went way over, and it didn't even get up to blitz there. All right, back in the urban fight here. I'm going to be honest, Blue 4 is just going to dig into this town. You could very well just bypass this and then have an autocannon Vic watch it, and then any Blue 4 that try to run out, you just shoot. But I also get that Op 4 does have a massive amount of infantry here, and they are finding stuff for them to do. So the Tovik was trying to pull a fast one here, but Magdog here, he did backblast himself because he's by that rock. But he used an RSGH launcher, a thermobaric warhead, and it did some pretty considerable damage to the vehicle. And it knocked the driver out. So yeah, that wouldn't penetrate to kill. Oh, he woke up! And he gets finished off by Baka there. I'm doing my best to pronounce these names. I'm sorry if I'm butchering them. Language is not my specialty. I can wave and smile at you, though. Alright, so, I mean, Blue 4, they have the number advantage here. We do have some of them with a few kills, but you can see a majority of Op 4 are just bypassing this position because there's no point in assaulting it, because any Blue 4 that then tried to leave are just going to get peppered by autocannon and tank fire. That's why you have some of those vehicles facing there in case they try to run out. So I think it's just giving some Op 4 elements to do in this scenario. Meanwhile, we have one of those MGS vehicles crossing by. A drum magged. So they're going to let that pass, but they'll probably feed that information up to the air asset who can circle around and try to find it. And we can see that Blue 4 have a few guys still alive on that southern side and in a few other areas, but Op 4 is trying to maneuver. You got to be careful about this because Blue 4, again, could do some rear attacks, but we do have these autocannons here to kind of watch the rear for our Op 4, so I doubt there's going to be much of an issue. One of them just pulled up and I think used some of its AP ammo to finish off that Humvee. This is one of those rare instances where I think cooking it off is better because Op 4 have so many tow vehicles with everything. Like, it's not needed to have additional vehicles like that. This position immediately ate some GMGs from that Crow. That's a kill. Almost another kill on 0. Second server finished their first TVT. Ah! I wonder what the second server did, because they get the exact same mission, but the second server has the, that one is anyone from the community, and then server 1 is, their best of the best here. Got some blind fire GMGs over here, but this is what I'm talking about. Now the autocannon is going to start overwatching and sniping anything that's in here. I fully expect it to start leveling the buildings here. If it's allowed to. Oh, Omega's about to get...
Send in goat.
Oh, no, he goes high. Does he look? He sees him. There he goes.
New job. Someday, hopefully this one lasts longer. Hopefully a few years.
Let's give him a warm welcome.
Righto, Twisted. I'm glad to hear you found a new job, man. Thanks for the 21-month resub, broski. Hope you keep enjoying the operations, and I hope you get a nice kick out of this scenario. We have 35 minutes left on this round. Time is starting to become a bit of an issue, but at the same time, I think Blue Op 4 will have the ability to charge in, because you've got forces literally within 1.5 kilometers away. And then you still have GMG's blind firing, which I understand a tactic like this, but the reason they're doing it here is this is that open straight shot. I just saw a blue 4 guy tag an op 4 dude. And then look, most of op 4 in this town are dead, but they're already bypassing. And now you're having this massive concave attack come in. Well, we do have some static 50 cal. Yeah, they're engaging some of the op 4 guys running in the open here. Look, I thought he was running in a circle for a second. He's just doing that lawn serpentine. If you're a 50 cal gunner, you just fire in the middle of that serpentine. He's eventually going to run into those bullets. Oh, you found... There's Nemesis' Russian twin. Yep. All right, one of the vehicles up here just went up in smoke. I think this was the Gaz with the GMG. But it wasn't a Crow system. Yeah, it's not like these... oh, God, what's the name of them? It's the VDV vehicle, but... Just calling it with the Gaz with the autocannon, yeah? Oh, Alligator might come in and... try to bite him. He's lining up the top of the chopper. I think he's going to wait for it to stop moving. Look at that little line right there. He missed! He missed again! That one was even worse! Because I think the guidance got screwed by the tree! I'm gonna be honest, I think this is GG for Blue 4. Like... we do have some remaining vehicles, like that one that was in reserve is now out. That was the one that was hiding in the shed the entire time. Now they're going to start picking out some Op 4 forces. But if you see this concave that Op 4 has, unless we see the Arcadia defensive garrison get a good chunk of infantry killed and the Blue 4 group here hold, they're SOL. The autocannons are just going to completely pepper all the infantry here. We see another Blue 4 Vic that just went up. That could have been the Striker tow launcher. It was the Striker tow launcher. Yeah, I think this is the beginning of the end. Op 4, they have that Overwatch area. They're firing at all the gun positions here. That kills the 50 cal. If Vishaka was literally a second late, that round would have hit him. Like, he just crawled. Yeah, so if it detonated here, that means up to here would have killed him. So he just crawled into the safety zone of that position. But, like, all of the heavy assets in this position are getting annihilated. This... I think they're going to be just short. It's going to be, like, in between and right here. Can you imagine if that landed on target? So this means they're working with the Arcadia garrison here to find where the infantry is. We could see another barrage adjusted south. But I love the coordination of fire we're seeing from various assets here. I rarely see this in PvP, and I absolutely love to see it here. Yeah, so they're widening the circle there. And I think that autocannon just fired into this defensive line. Maybe there was a turret or something he saw that he didn't like. Yeah, there it is. Good snipe. Alligator's now going to play extremely aggressive. Something just fired at him. There's a man pad. So it was part of the infantry. I was struggling to find them earlier, though. So he has an AT-4. He had the Stinger, yeah, but it was a miss. Because at that range, the Alligator has enough time to flare that round off. MGS just fired at something. No kills, though. Might have been on that dismounted Gaz again. There we go. I just put an HE round into here, and that knocks out Mad Dog. Or Mag Dog, excuse me. He was the one that ambushed the tow Humvee. Ooh, okay, we're about to have a little bit of CQC here, potentially. These are Spetsnaz forces bypassing. I was told early in the stream to try to keep track of KSK here. We just saw Zaku spot and eliminate a guy. Motzi also on a kill. Kaiser also on a kill. Kaiser comes up, immediately spots that element, gets a kill on him. So that drum mag AEK. Mahon, the only one up here. An ACOG 249. I would say this is normally the best gun in PvP. But he's definitely dealing with some pretty good players here. And I think Zaku has him dead to rights. He's just waiting. Yeah, so the last Op 4 guy is just leaving that town. There's no point. And we already see infantry starting to charge into that final objective. Frames have been also pretty good on this scenario. I love it. Yep, Kaiser spots him and gets kill number 3. Oh, no, okay, that might have been kill number 2 for him. He might have started with 0, but even then, damn. Still have some Blue 4 vehicles on the back line here because they don't have anywhere else to go at this point. They've been pretty much locked down. Got Baka here moving forward on his own. Scoped AK-74 with a GP-25 system. Alligator, I think, is getting a little more overt as it's trying to kill this MGS. That was a rocket run. Yep, oh gosh, what's her name? I think she's the matriarch of the community, but she already came in to Flory, that's it. God, brain. She already mentioned it. She didn't say who won specifically, though, but TSG with a casualty score of 62 to 18. Wow. So solid game swept over TSG. Wow. This one, though, it looks like Op 4 is going to do the sweep. It's just, you know, they're taking every minute that they can. Definitely have seen quite a lot of these one-on-ones here. Mozart here's tunnel vision on the guys ahead of him. He doesn't realize the units that are literally next to him. Again, the second mission is going to be a Cold War op. There's that autocannon. Anything it sees is going to get shot. No, Baka! He was spotted and eliminated. Not gonna lie, that's usually what should happen when you're running ahead of everybody, but I can always root for those multi-kills, you know? Here's the issue. Blue 4, again, they've got so many units outside, like KO, for example. Same thing's gonna happen with Arcadia. Op 4 is just gonna bypass these positions. And if they see movement, they're going to pepper them with autocannon fire. But they don't have a way to pull anything back because Op 4's autocannons are just going to be locking down the entire map. That was the explosion I heard. Which, that might actually be an Op 4 Vic. Nope, it's another Blue 4 Bushmaster. Yeah, so that was the one that was in this barn that pulled out. Maybe got a kill or two, and then it got sniped by an Op 4 vehicle. I mean, that's been the standard for this mission. Blue 4 could never really beat out Op 4's tactic here of just keeping forces together, making that really impressive battle line, and now it's turning into this spearhead attack here. And here's what's going to happen. Op 4, they're going to take a few initial casualties. Then you're going to start seeing Op 4 autocannon some of the buildings that Blue 4 are in, and then the next wave of Op 4 is going to go in. And then you got the autocannons suppressing some of these forward positions here just to make absolutely sure they're clear. And then you have a small Spetsnaz team coming from the rear. I'd imagine we might see some reinforcements also mount up in some vehicles and move in, but we also have security elements. That's what I love about this too. We're actually seeing some security infantry staying around where some of the vehicles are to prevent any Blue 4 from engaging them along the rear. Now, the success of that security element, I mean, it greatly depends, because we just saw Hardkill get a kill there, and there's another dead Op 4 guy right there. So, at least they're trying. I'd rather see that than them completely abandoned and then, you know, Blue 4 just snipe them in the rear. But this right here is the final fight. This is the one that matters the most. That is another Blue 4 vehicle smoking out there. That was one of their strikers moving around, I think. Yep, so that was one of the MGS. Vix, our air is... This poor 50 cal Crow. The alligator's going to chew that up with an autocannon or a missile. The fact that they're using their cannon, I think, tells me they're out of AGMs, though. And that GMG MRAP that we saw back here just got cooked. As well as I think this was a transport MRAP over here. So now they're just sniping vehicles out. We see some of the sheds getting destroyed. So I have to say, isn't that where the guy tripped? Yeah, his gun's still there, so he died. Dude fell off the ledge early, like literally at the beginning of the game. Even before the game started, his gun's there. He died. First death was to an OSHA violation. God damn. But yeah, I think autocannon rounds, that was, they were running short. They're trying to hit all of these fortified areas around first. Borean has no idea he's being engaged from the flank. And, oh, that round hit the top of his back. I think that snapped his spine. I think got right under the plate. Ugh, not a good way to go. They're trying to put, that was a thermobaric round or an OG warhead. Now they're starting to pepper this base with stuff to kill the infantry. But look, now they're starting to attack from all sides. There's so much Blue 4 out of position. I said this was a possibility of happening. That Op 4 would be able to potentially get right on top of this hill, cover with the autocannons, and then just swarm this area. And there wasn't any Blue 4 here that could pull in and do anything about it. Oh. I can't tell if the smoke's from a grenade or from the building going up, but I don't think there was a person in there. I'm not seeing a body. Server 1 and Server 2 are not being separated by skill cap? Okay. I was told that. Maybe I'm wrong. But I could have sworn it was a separation. So if that's not the case, then that's my bad. I'm just giving you guys the information that I thought I was given. We have another down vehicle over here. I think Blue 4 were able to take out one of those autocannon vehicles. Over here, we have a Moz gunner on the rear, so it's probably him. Yep. He's got the vehicle kill. And that was one of the APCs. That one front guy taken out. I think one of Blue 4's other main problems was sometimes in large PvP events, we do see communities struggle to rally everybody. So I think Blue 4 really struggled to pull forces back when they needed to reset defensive lines, and Op 4 was just able to capitalize on that and immediately go in. I mean, now we have a tank playing CQC here. This is brilliant. They're smoking Blue 4's position so the infantry can move up unmolested. That, yeah, literally a move up with your most armored asset, so even if it gets hit by an RPG, it's likely to survive. They put the smoke up, and that allows for infantry to charge in. The issue with this type of smoke, though, is it dissipates very quickly. This is GG. I said earlier it was the beginning of the end. This is the end. Op 4 literally have this Blue 4 position on all sides. They've got multiple vehicles in here. They've got both tanks in here. Honestly, they're too close for air support at this point, but air is just sniping out vehicles that are on the outside. I think he found the striker and eliminated it. Yep. So that was the Crow system striker that's now down. Air got a piece even by the end of the game. Blue 4 were able to take out like 2 or 3 autocannon vehicles, but Op 4, I mean, they started with like 6 or 7. And then other utility almost had a crash there. Even the Crow system, look at that! They got 3 kills with this thing. And now they're just charging in his infantry. He's stuck between the little coils of metal wire there. So yeah, this I had a feeling was going to get multi-kills, and yeah. But they don't need it anymore because now they're here. All they got to do is clear this position out. By the way, normally I have a rule where we keep it English only, but because we're covering a Russian event, I'm gonna allow it. I need to tell my mods that in the channel here. I don't read enough. I don't play enough DayZ to read Russian. Maxwell here just killed off 2 guys. I think he's the last dude in the AO. Okay, no, there's a few more. My bad. From that angle, it looked like he was the last. We still got some defenders over here, so good shots by Maxwell. No. Okay, hold on. Fuck. There we go. Sorry, I wanted to quickly type that in chat. You gotta give it to the Blue 4 defenders, though. They're actually getting a good chunk of Op 4 killed off in this first wave. Now, will it be enough? I don't think so. Because now you have the tanks. Just absolutely annihilating everything. I'm gonna write it to my mod channel real quick. Alright, I just went into my Twitch mod room and just told them, hey, you know, I know the normal rule we have is English only, but here, today we're making the exception. I love this, though. Again, the custom door stuff. You got to use every little angle you can, but that must be terrifying to see at the other, like the corner of it, you see an Op 4 tank. I know, I agree. This was really, really refreshing to see large-scale tactics done properly, because usually it gets bogged down in comms. Like, there's a lot of OFCRA events that they do, you know, multi-100-player ops that just get oofed. He just tried to fire a GL out of it, and look, it got stuck. Oh, that's gotta suck. This is, I think, command. Yeah. Let's see if Godfred opens the door and potentially drops command there, but damn. I was about to say, that's a smoke, I think. Whoop! Nope, there it is. I hope that doesn't get me copyrighted. Alright, I'm gonna tab out real quick. GG.
Let's give him a warm welcome, shall we?
GG. I'm just tabbing out for a second just so, you know, Twitch and YouTube don't dock me for that, but alright. That was pretty... No, not me! No, I did my job! I failed as a civilian. Oh well. Alright. Op 4 victory.
Let's give him a warm welcome, shall we?
Just type into chat to say, we have a winner. That went to the bitter end, though. That was great. Honestly great. I think I'm stuck in the TFAR channel. Because I was supposed to be in a spacer. So let's move back up to the normal channel there. I think they're using 2 separate TeamSpeak servers. One for their community, one for Solid and one for Tushino. But now they're going to be switching it over to the next mission. And there we are. As an observer. Overall, yeah, no, I'm quite satisfied with how that round went. I mean, I said if Op4 can just keep their units together and just unilaterally steamroll Blue 4's lines, they'll be fine. Whereas if Blue 4 can create kill zones and whittle Op4 down as they push forward, they'll be fine. And Blue 4, every time they tried to field a vehicle into a kill zone, it was quickly spotted and dealt with quickly by Op4. So that just allowed Op4 to continue their steamroll. And it wasn't perfect. I mean, there was still Op4 casualties. Op4 still lost a few vehicles, but it wasn't enough. You know? So overall, that played out about as well as you would think it would, in all honesty. For Op4, that is. Blue 4, I mean, now seeing all of that play out, seeing all the assets Op4 had, seeing all the assets Blue 4 had, the helicopter was a bit useless. It did come in at the end and get a few kills, and it still harassed some Blue 4 vehicles, meaning if Blue 4 had anything on the coast, it would have been dealt with. But as we saw, when the alligator came into the middle, it was immediately shot at by manpads. So I don't think the alligator would have been sufficient to deal with anything that Blue 4 had overwatching in, like, the middle of that island. But I guess landmass technically, because that island in the middle would be that central town, but I digress on technicality. I don't think Blue 4 had any real way to set up overwatching vehicles with just how good, and not just on Op 4, on Blue 4 too, but whenever something was spotted, it got through the chain of command very, very quickly. Usually in other PvP communities, it takes minutes for things to get said to other squads because of other chatter going on. But here, I mean, we literally saw there were multiple instances of, like, when a position was spotted, they would get, especially on the southern side, a GMG gunner would immediately start pounding it with either a crow system or a static, like the AGS 30s, excuse me, on the Gazes. So that was happening on both sides. So both sides had very streamlined communication, which is super important for large-scale PvP like this. Because I'd say there's a bell curve for PvP where once you have like a platoon of, 40 to 60 guys, that's usually the peak of communication because you just have, one platoon commander and 4 squad leaders. But once you start going past that, when you have multiple platoons, you'll have like a vehicle branch, and then you'll have the vehicle commander, and then he speaks to either a platoon or the company commander, and the company commander also speaks to a bunch of platoon guys as well. Like, there's a lot. There's a lot of communication chains in that, and that's where communication can usually completely fall apart. But here, it felt like it was like a single platoon communicating, and they just went super hard into it,
Let's give him a warm welcome, shall we?
So with all of that in mind, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think Blue 4 stood a chance.
Let's give him a warm welcome, shall we?
Genuinely, I don't think Blue 4 could have won that. Because Op 4, they had better communication. Blue 4, once they had people in towns, and we saw this in the Op, they had no way to get back, and at that point, they were as good as dead, because Op 4 were playing for the objective. They did send, 1 or 2, like, small groups of infantry to go and clear the town, but they quickly learned that that wasn't a good idea, and they just pushed the rest of the forces forward. If Op 4 continued on that strategy of clearing every position and moving forward, then Blue 4 would have had a better chance. But nah, there was no reason, and Op 4 recognized that, and they just went right for the objective, and they swarmed it by the end. They coordinated a massive spearhead assault from one direction, and then had other forces join in. It dominated. And I'm just thinking, like, to all of the PvP I've seen, that was probably, like, one of the most impressive. Because the other event we cover, WOG versus, or Weekly Open Games versus Solid Games, I remember the round I covered, it literally, like, got down to, like, 25 people on one side, but it was a bloodbath for both sides. But this one, this was honestly one of the biggest steamrolls I've ever seen. It really felt like Op 4 was just a well-oiled machine there. And Blue 4 just, they had their defensive plan, but they just couldn't, like, send QRF in any meaningful way to destroy stuff. We still saw, like, individual infantry guys, like at the end with the Maz. It took out one of the autocannons on the hill that was covering the oil area, which was the objective. But we just couldn't see Blue 4 replicate that success multiple times because they needed to do it multiple times to win, I have a weird feeling right now, like almost euphoric, because that was, again, that was just, that is the, when I talk about in other PvP missions, like what I would like to see or what you should normally see, that right there, like I can't stop gushing over it, like that was just cut and dry. And again, I wouldn't say there was any, like, the normal highlights I do, which are funny, you know, something silly happens. This was just an all business. People went in, both sides got some good kills on each other and went forward. That's all I can say about it, you know? So it just, I'd say impressive work by both sides. Because we've seen, what I also like about this is we've seen OFCRA do large events against BIA. So we do have some frame of reference to compare that to. And, I mean, those events, no offense to OFCRA BIA, I mean, that's where we see those communication problems I mentioned earlier at, like, the company level come in sometimes. And I think it's also because OFCRA with BIA, they have stricter lone wolf rules. Whereas here, we saw a lot of that. But I'm going to be honest, if both sides do it, it kind of cancels each other out, you know? But that's just my opinion. Side thing, too, I wouldn't want to see every PvP community operate like this. Because, one, I wouldn't have a bunch of funny highlights. But, two, I like all the different styles of PvP. I like how FNF does their PvP because it's smaller scale and they play with their own formula. I like how OFCRA does their PvP because they have their own way of doing things, their own formula, and they vary it a lot. And then these guys, I feel like this is something pretty concrete as well, you know? Like, it... What I'm saying is I would love to go in. I'd love to cover more PvP from other communities. Because for Zeusing, how I became one of the best Zeuses in the world is I literally went to so many different communities. I saw how their Zeuses did stuff. And I got to Zeus in those communities and see how the players like this. I kind of want to do that for PvP casting now. I want to see everything there is to see. I want to see it into, you know, Arma 4 as well in 2 years. After all, this is my job. So I want to get some expansion on the horizon, and I just got an interesting poke. Where something like that might happen. Interesting. Very interesting. The birthday presents keep getting more and more awesome. Alright, so this is the Cold War mission. Blue 4 is now going to be on defense trying to hold a bridge as Op 4 assaults it. We're probably going to see BMP2s, BMDs as well if we're talking VDV, more gas. It's like old school tech. I mean, we see that all the time though with like standard RHS equipment. Here, let me type in chat real quick. Because I'm 15 minutes in the future, I don't know where, I don't know when that mission's going to be officially over, but we're back up to a little over 200. And again, I misinterpreted the event today. I thought it would be like 200 players versus 200 players. It technically is, but it's 100 versus 100 on 2 separate servers. So that's on me. I'm sorry if I catfished any of you. If you've been with me for a while, you know how I hate to clickbait people. I just got excited because I genuinely thought it would be all on one server. But yeah, logistics-wise, I gave the Russian server Black Magic too much credit. Because I thought, you know, before profiling branch, if they were able to put like 240 people on a server before profiling branch, and the profiling branch let them crack 400, I genuinely thought that. Oh, man. Alright, we're just letting the round start. I hope you're all having a wonderful day, by the way, wherever you are in the world. And I hope you have a good Sunday. Oh, whoops, I still have this as a PvP tag. Hold on one second. Let me fix my tags. I always forget some little thing somewhere. This is probably a break for everyone, too, because they did just sit down for 2 hours and, you know, play some solid PvP. I would know. We had a freaking 10-hour stream yesterday with a little break in the middle at the 2.5-hour mark, but from there it was go, go, go. One second. So normally I have DND. After this, it ended? Alright. Watch me put blue 4 down just to piss you all off. That's an upset, too. Just double checking, just to make sure I don't accidentally select the right one. Yep, complete prediction. Okay. Yes.
Let's give him a warm welcome, shall we?
God damn. Again, I think Op4 genuinely won that just because better coordination and more assets, and they committed everything on different angles, too.
Let's give him a warm welcome, shall we?
I see everyone excited in chat there, though. That's nice. That's why I love doing this stuff. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from, as long as we're here having fun on video games. Video games unite us. They've always united us for decades. That's what I like to see. Okay, look, I'm a gambler too, though. After Stillwater Security Solutions op last night, the 10-hour one, we all got paid $1,500. And immediately, one of them's like, hey, you guys want to play poker? I went in with 250, I left with 2,000 bucks. Technically 2,047. Because Korvac kept buying back in and literally gambled almost all of that paycheck away. It was Sergeant Trans, aka Dragon. He won a few, like 750. Wade, aka Vulture, he won about a little over 1,000, and he doesn't even know how to play poker. He just kept getting super lucky. And then, of course, I leave with over 2,000 bucks. It sucks, though, because John, who runs Stillwater, because Korvac kept buying in, he made a joke to say, okay, whoever busts Korvac out for this last time will get a golden revolver. And then, of course, Korvac goes on Showdown with Wade and loses instead of losing to me at Showdown. And, you know, Wade gets the revolver instead of me. And I'm slightly salty about that, but at least I pulled out 2,000. All right. Jesus Christ. Is that a dick butt? All right. Uh... If they keep spamming, I'll do stuff. Let them be excited, though, because their team won. I don't mind a little bit of cheering, you know? Jesus. Don't make me call the mods, guys. Come on.
Liru,
Yeah, what's up?
can you mute stream for a minute?
I can mute us.
That for stream, just for stream.
Can I mute the stream? Is that okay?
Uh,
Because they can't
Yeah.
see us speaking or anything. So
Yeah.
give me 1 second.